The Formula One world was shaken to its core when news broke that Christian Horner, the man behind Red Bull Racing's transformation into a dominant championship powerhouse, had been abruptly sacked. After 2 decades, 124 Grand Prix victories, and 8 driver titles under his leadership, his departure wasn't just a shock, it signaled a deeper, more troubling fracture within the team. And now, explosive new information is emerging that may completely change how we understand the chaos unfolding at Red Bull. Reports from respected German media are now revealing that Red Bull's own special advisor, Helmut Marko, played a pivotal role in orchestrating Horner's exit. Not only was Marko present at the critical meeting that sealed Horner's fate, but insiders claim he actively engineered the move. This stunning revelation comes as rumors swirl around Max Verstappen, possibly considering a shocking transfer to Mercedes, raising serious questions about whether this move was a last-ditch effort to keep the team from completely imploding. If you're trying to make sense of the turmoil unraveling inside Red Bull Racing and want to know what's really happening behind closed doors, hit that subscribe button because this might just be the most important F1 story of the entire season. Christian Horner's departure is beginning to look far more sinister than just a leadership shuffle. What initially appeared as an abrupt change at the top is now being exposed as a carefully premeditated power shift orchestrated in secret, with none other than Helmut Marko at the center. According to bombshell reports from German outlet Bild, Horner's dismissal wasn't the result of a spontaneous decision, but one crafted behind closed doors during a high-level meeting on the 7th of July. Present were Red Bull's head of sport Oliver Mintzlaff, company owners Guilherme Uvidia and Mark Mateschitz, and of course, Helmut Marko. The very next day, Horner was summoned to a private meeting with Marko and Mintzlaff. Just like that, his 20-year reign as Red Bull CEO and team principal came to a stunning end. But this wasn't solely about on-track results. For over 18 months, Marko had reportedly grown increasingly disillusioned with Horner. Things reached a breaking point in early 2024, when Horner was accused of inappropriate behavior by a female staff member. While he was ultimately cleared after an internal probe, the damage to Red Bull's internal unity was done. Marko viewed Horner's conduct as severely damaging to Red Bull's global image. Meanwhile, Jos Verstappen, Max's outspoken father, openly declared that Horner's leadership was tearing the team apart. Behind the scenes, Max's camp had clearly lost confidence. Although Verstappen went on to win his 4th consecutive world title in 2024, his relationship with Red Bull's upper management had become noticeably strained. On camera, Max smiled. But off camera, insiders claim he was seriously evaluating his future. And those options? They're very real. Though Verstappen is under contract with Red Bull until 2028, it's now known that performance clauses could allow him to exit early, potentially by the end of 2025, if the team falls short of competitiveness. And make no mistake, Red Bull is struggling. The RB, the 21st of May, still be fast in Verstappen's hands, but it's wildly inconsistent. For teammates like Sergio Perez, Liam Lawson, and Yuki Tsunoda, the car is practically undrivable. This technical imbalance has contributed to a sharp decline in Red Bull's constructors' standings. From total dominance, they've now slipped to 4th place, trailing behind Ferrari, McLaren, and Mercedes. This collapse has revealed deeper cracks in the team's foundation. Since the death of Red Bull founder Dietrich Mateschitz, a wave of top-tier talent has departed. Adrian Newey, genius behind Red Bull's car design, has left. Sporting director Jonathan Wheatley is gone. Key strategic and engineering minds like Rob Marshall, Will Courtney, and Lee Stevenson have also exited. What's left is a team hollowed out from the inside, one that even the best driver in the world can't carry alone. Which leads us back to Christian Horner. Some within the F1 community believe Horner was sacrificed in a desperate bid to stop the bleeding and convince Verstappen to stay. That theory is rapidly gaining traction, especially after recent comments from former F1 driver Gerhard Berger. In a candid interview, Berger didn't hold back. Gerhard Berger believes that Christian Horner's firing wasn't just about leadership or performance, was a calculated move to protect Max Verstappen. According to Berger, internal politics played a far bigger role than what meets the eye. He even pointed out that the relationship between the Verstappens and Horner had become increasingly strained, unsustainable even. And in a pointed remark, Berger added, "If Horner was really surprised by his dismissal, that's a bad sign, because even as an outsider, you could see it coming." These words paint a troubling picture of a team not only grappling with technical deficiencies, but also desperately trying to keep hold of their most prized asset. While Max Verstappen remains tight-lipped in front of the cameras, Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff is anything but silent. Wolff has made no secret of his interest in bringing Max to Brackley, and with both George Russell and Kimi Antonelli currently unconfirmed for 2026, Mercedes has a seat wide open just in case Verstappen decides it's time for a change. And make no mistake, the Verstappen camp is watching carefully. Several sources suggest that informal discussions have already taken place between Wolff and Verstappen's management, should that performance clause in Max's contract come into play. Wolff, ever the strategic mastermind, is patiently biding his time. He knows Red Bull is in a vulnerable state, and he's aware that Horner's removal might be the final straw, just enough to convince Max that it's time to jump ship. The million-dollar question now is, who's steering Red Bull through this storm? The man handed the reins is Laurent Mekies, formerly of Ferrari and AlphaTauri, formerly Racing Bull. Though well respected within the paddock, Mekies faces a near-impossible task. He's stepping into a fractured organization, stripped of Adrian Newey, stripped of Christian Horner, and potentially soon stripped of Max Verstappen. Even Helmut Marko, the architect behind Horner's departure, has hinted at stepping back himself. And in a surprise twist, Marko has floated a name for potential future leadership: Sebastian Vettel. Yes, that's Sebastian Vettel. The four-time world champion and Red Bull icon of the early 2010s is reportedly being considered for a senior role at the team. Whether this would be a symbolic figurehead position or a true strategic leadership role remains unclear. But one thing is certain, Red Bull is scrambling to reinvent itself. The only problem? Reinvention takes time, and time may be exactly what Red Bull doesn't have. The rest of the 2025 season will be absolutely critical. Every point, every race weekend, every offhand comment from Verstappen will be scrutinized. If Red Bull can't claw their way back into competitive shape, and if Max no longer feels supported, then Mercedes could finally land their white whale. And Red Bull? They might be left clinging to memories of a bygone era of dominance. So, was Christian Horner's sacking the bold move Red Bull needed the spark that ignited their downfall? Let us know what you think in the comments. And don't forget, this saga is far from over. Hit that subscribe button for full breakdowns, exclusive updates, and all the behind-the-scenes chaos still to come from inside Red Bull Racing.